Welcome to the Cinemadix podcast. I'm your host, Nick.
I'm Ryan.
And we're just a couple guys who love talking and watching movies. This channel's for anyone who enjoys cinema as much as we do, and anyone who's trying to learn a little bit more. We're starting off tonight with Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, yeah. Recent Grammy winner. Recent Grammy winner. The guy is the king of scores right now. I think he's always been for the longest time. And it was just, it was good to see him win another one the other week, yeah.
Number 5, eh?
Number 5, yeah.
Number 5.
Second, no, I don't think he won for the first Dune. I think this is his first Dune win.
Yeah.
Not getting an Oscar, though.
Yeah, I actually just went back and watched Dune Part 2.
Oh, really?
Not too long ago, literally 3 or 4 days ago. That movie kicks ass.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, that movie's awesome. The music in that throughout the entire thing is awesome. And so, Hans Zimmer's won 2 Oscars. He's been nominated for, I think, 12.
12 sounds about right.
I think 12. I think he's been nominated for 12, and he's won 2.
I'd have to go back and look. If he didn't get nominated for Interstellar, that would be, total snub. 12
Academy Awards.
Yeah. He had worked with Nolan since 2005 with Batman Begins until 2016 with Dunkirk, and nothing.
Yeah.
Some of the best scores I think we have in modern cinema, up there at least, and not a single Oscar win. I mean, that's worse than Leo not winning an Oscar.
Yeah.
Can be.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But.
I actually just went back and watched Matthew McConaughey's acceptance speech.
Oh, yeah?
I
watched that recently, too, actually.
And I think it's fantastic, but I think you brought up a good point not too long ago saying that Leo maybe should have won that year. You think he should have won for The Wolf of Wall Street?
I don't. It's a hard one. I think The Wolf of Wall Street is, I want to say, Leo's second best performance that I've seen. If not, probably top 3. I would say The Aviator is my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio performance. Because there's a clear dedication that's presented in this movie. It's longevity. It's, his kind of delve into madness, which we've seen plenty of times, but that's classic Leo. The way he presents it in such an intense way. It's mind-boggling that he had never won an Oscar either.
What year did Aviator come out? Was that 2004?
2004? It did Gangs in New York in 2003, I think.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that, but... and then his next movie was The Aviator, which is crazy, because he had Leo back-to-back.
Yeah, that wasn't... I mean, Leo started off so young, being just... everyone knew this guy was going to be generational talent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, does he have anything coming up?
Leo? He's doing a Paul Thomas Anderson film. I forget exactly what it's called. And I forget any plot leaks we've heard, but I've seen screenshots of Leo, and, he looks like a bum. He's got a... remember Rick Dalton's mustache when he played the bad guy?
Yeah.
It looks like that, and so it's just like a Fu Manchu, and he's he's wearing a robe, and he's got a beanie on. He looks like a bum.
It's called One Battle After Another. The upcoming
Paul Thomas Anderson.
One Battle After Another is the new Leo movie.
Yeah,
Paul Thomas Anderson's directing that.
Yeah. He's written and directed.
Directed.
I don't think he's done anything since Licorice Pizza either. So.
I was gonna say, what are some of your Paul Thomas Anderson's favorite?
Oh, I would have to put. The Master is so hard not to give it like a top 3. It might be The Master after that. I would say There Will Be Blood, which might be a diplomat's answer, Boogie Nights, and then The Master after that.
Boogie Nights,
That is just exceptional. And Boogie Nights just has like a... it has like a... this guy is so young in his career. It's almost like Spielberg directing Jaws. Not to compare the two, but like Jaws is a great movie. Today, similar like The Exorcist. The Exorcist scared the shit out of everybody back in 1973, but today people are so numb to that. And I think the same with Jaws. Everybody is aware of the fear of the oceans, but just being so young but so revolutionary, honestly, for Paul Thomas Anderson in filmmaking. It's hard to put that movie out of your top 3.
Yeah. I think There Will Be Blood is.
We just watched that last week too. Yeah.
I think that's probably. I would say that's my favorite. Oscars everywhere for that movie, and some really good just moments in that where.
And Daniel Day-Lewis definitely won.
Yeah, then what? Then right after that he did Lincoln, won another Oscar, like.
He might have done something in between.
He might have done something in between, but essentially back-to-back Oscars in a way for some killer performances.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what he did after Lincoln, and he might have done some more underground movies that I don't know about, but he did Phantom Thread, which I thought was like just okay movie. It was good, but Daniel Day-Lewis is still phenomenal in it, and it really shows like his ability to get out of roles, especially someone like Abraham Lincoln that he's just amazing in. And go do something like Phantom Thread the same way with like There Will Be Blood into whatever his next movie was, and then Lincoln.
Yeah. What is he doing now? I feel like I haven't seen him in much recently.
Daniel Day-Lewis retired.
Okay.
After the Phantom Thread.
He did retire.
He did retire. Tom Brady retired.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was done, and then he's doing a movie with his son, I believe. His son or some family member, it might be his nephew. And I've only seen one still from it, and it's just him on a motorcycle. So I have a feeling it'll be a much more, kind of indie film. And I don't know if his son has any credits to him yet. I'd have to look that up, but he's coming out and he's doing something, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
I just feel like when you have that talent, you really can't just stop. Like something has you, like Quentin Tarantino. He says he's going to make his last movie ever, and we all know nobody loves Tarantino more than Tarantino.
Yeah.
He loves to just be that guy, and he is that guy. But he's not going to ever stop writing. Not a chance, man.
No, dude. I need that Quentin Tarantino film.
Yeah,
I need that. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, you're right. I think you said a little while ago that it was, it was truly a love letter to Hollywood. The way that it does just show, like, an actor's role throughout, like, a lifestyle. An actor's lifestyle throughout his entire career as an actor, and the ups and the downs, and then you kind of just throw a stuntman in there, and Brad Pitt kind of does bring, that, charismatic element.
Yeah, he brings supporting role energy, for sure.
Yeah. But I think it was funny that, we're waiting this whole movie for some violence.
Yeah.
Even the Bruce Lee fight where he chucks him into the car.
Right.
There's no violence. There's really not that much fighting there.
There's so much room for violence in this movie. Rick Dalton kills 4 guys in Bounty Law within the first 5 minutes of the movie. Before we even hear Leonardo DiCaprio speak, he kills, upwards of 6 people. On the show, obviously, and they don't show blood, but it's like, Tarantino being Tarantino, and how his style has consistently been. You'd think like, oh yeah, he's going to show splatter or something, but no, he doesn't want to. He wants to kind of gatekeep you from it a little bit.
Yeah. And I think that was pretty cool. I think it was cool, and I also think for some people, I think it was a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you really are a movie enjoyer and you are a diehard Tarantino fan, then you do understand that, like, maybe all that build up until the end, like The Hateful Eight, like all the action kind of takes place in that last like little chunk of the movie.
Yeah, and there's some thrown out for sure, but the spark is definitely towards the end.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that, and so I kind of hope that his last movie that he makes has a little bit more oomph to it again. I'm not saying we got to go Kill Bill level, but maybe like. Bring it back to Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, maybe throw in like some nostalgic filmmaking there. Like it'd be cool to see a love letter to filmmaking.
Yeah,
he's given us a love letter. I would say all of his movies kind of are love letters in a way. His, I would have to think more on Reservoir Dogs, but Kill Bill is definitely a love letter to these martial arts movies. I mean, that is his martial arts movie, a genre that he loves for sure. And then, we all know Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, love letter to Hollywood in not just the 60s, but what, you could consider this golden age of Hollywood, where nothing could go wrong. Everything was pretty good in Hollywood. It didn't really seem like there could be a fall off. I mean, look at Rick Dalton. He is so shocked by how unsuccessful he's becoming. I mean, he gets depressed because of it. He's an alcoholic. But, I think that's real for so many actors. I mean, he's a representation of, I don't know if it was confirmed, but like 4 different actors back in the 60s merged together into one Rick Dalton. But, like Inglourious Bastards, that's a love letter to the war movies most of the time. And it's definitely like, a middle finger to Germany in every sort of way.
Yeah.
And his knowledge of like the German film industry in the 30s is crazy too, because that was such a huge part of cinema. What we were seeing, we saw so many atrocities from Germany because of what was captured on film by the Germans. Is propaganda, I mean, but Tarantino just he only works off of what he knows, right? So making a movie like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where it's totally separated from his style or expectations, you might hate it, but it's like, can you really tell me that movie was bad, other than it maybe almost 3 hours long? Like, there's an expectation. When that expectation is not met, sure, but is it a bad movie? Is it even close to a bad movie? No, I don't think so at all.
Dude, even the cinematography throughout that movie is fucking beautiful.
Absolutely.
Like, all the shots of, especially them driving in the car, where the camera's placed at the back of like the car, and it's just them driving down old Hollywood, like, but it's really,
right.
it's
sightseeing,
Yeah, it's literally, that is still like, in fact, cinema. Like, just getting in that car almost. You're essentially like there with them. It feels like you're a part of it the whole time. And then even when he's just driving out to where's the old site that he used to shoot movies
Spawn
at?
Ranch.
Spawn Ranch. Even when he's driving out to Spawn Ranch, he's got a hippie in his car with him, and he shows up like
Margaret Qualley too, who's popped off.
Yeah, she popped off.
Substance.
And not my favorite substance. Substance not my favorite at first. We'll get into that in a second. But that's really where the first violence for that even kind of shows up.
Yeah. When he beats up the guy that slashed his tire.
Yeah. And even though that scene is, entertaining, it's not as graphic as probably people were hoping for it.
No,
people were probably. I mean, granted, he does.
At least at this point in the movie.
Yeah. Granted, he does take a few swings at him. Yeah. For sure, and then
breaks his nose.
Yeah, definitely, and then makes him change his tire. But I think in those last 15 minutes of that movie, I do think that it was enough. I mean, girl getting her face bashed into the corner of a fireplace, and then dog food can getting chucked, and then people getting burned alive.
Tex gets his balls ripped off and everything.
Yeah.
Brandy shows up. Yeah. I mean, the last 15 minutes of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood it is a very big surprise, because you just never would have thought. But, there's build up to the Sharon Tate murders and everything. But it's a brutal scene.
So I know you just went and saw Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
Like last Tuesday?
I saw him last Tuesday, yeah. It was, it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen again. I was very lucky to see him in 2017. He was doing his big world tour, the one that's on video. I've probably heard that a couple times, but he played everything you expected and more. He played the Battle in Chains from Gladiator.
Yeah.
Their first street fight, which I had never expected to hear. I would think on the the set of Gladiator, or the set he had in mind, the Might of Rome, which is the song, never would have came into his mind.
I wouldn't have expected that either.
No, it was amazing.
I would have thought,
it's a
just
4-minute song. Yeah.
I would have thought just, Inception, we got time from Inception,
Oh yeah,
Interstellar score, was all that there? I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely. And he capitalizes on time. That's the end.
Was that the last song
that
you played? Okay.
And it's crazy because we were there, and it's a packed arena, right? Which is so great to see that there's so many fans that will buy a ticket to go see Hans Zimmer. You never really think about him, and there's a lot of movie fans that don't think about him in the movie. They don't think about the music. But it was so cool to see that, and when time comes on, he starts playing. I mean, he plays the first note, and everybody knows immediately what it is. I mean, obviously, it's the end of the concert too. But then, the applause start coming out, the thank yous start coming out. I shouted at him and everything. It was great. I mean, he played a hell of a concert, like he always does. And that was the end of his tour too, so I was not surprised, but it was happy to see, this is the second to last show of his tour, and he's still playing his heart out.
So does he bring like an orchestra out and everything?
Yeah, he's got everybody there. He when I saw him in 2017, I forget her name, but he has this string player who is playing what is the size of like a cello,
okay,
but it's narrow like a violin. So it's just this long stick with strings on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, he had her come up for every song, but Pirates of the Caribbean was her solo essentially. She's ripping it out in that scene, or in that song. But she comes out for everything, and it's so amazing to see everybody on that stage just having such a great time, loving what they're doing, and they're playing music that especially everybody in the arena loves. And this is great music. It's more than just the soundtrack for a movie. It's phenomenal music, If we love classical music so much, there's no reason we shouldn't love this music.
And I'm surprised that he's not doing Christopher Nolan's Odyssey.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Ludwig did kill Oppenheimer.
Ludwig has been his composer with Tenet and Oppenheimer. Do I hope that Christopher Nolan asks Hans Zimmer to do it? Absolutely. I mean, there's no way Hans Zimmer can't kill this. But Ludwig is going to do phenomenal. And I was suspicious of him with Tenet at first, just because this was somebody I didn't know. I had seen his music in Black Panther, which he did too, and I think he won an Oscar for that. I'm not sure, but Ludwig and Christopher definitely are on the same wavelength of what they want. And it's great to see that, and I'm so excited for the Odyssey.
Dude, I can already imagine though, the boat, the crashing some waves, and then it's just almost like the Pirates of the Caribbean,
right.
like soundtrack in the background at the same time. But even I think it might be better.
And
if it's better, that might make the movie.
Yeah,
that might bring a lot of people to it.
That'll be a big part of it. He'll have to. I think it's "Can You Hear the Music" from Oppenheimer. That is. I think that was my most played song of 2023.
In the Spotify Wrapped?
Apple Music guy over here. But, the whole soundtrack of Oppenheimer is just front to back wonderful.
Gold.
I mean, there's a couple parts in there, and I listen to the soundtrack a lot. There's a couple parts in there that I'm just like, I don't want to listen to this. It's Casey Affleck's scene or something, and so I'm just like, I'm good with this. But Ludwig with the Odyssey, it's a huge task for him, for sure. He does not have a critical acclaimed feature film involving ancient Greece, and there is a setting you have to immerse yourself with in that. It's if I heard "Can You Hear the Music" to the Odyssey, I'd be like, oh, this is a little off. This isn't right. So mixing that historical Greek music that we all hear, it's going to be a task for him. It's going to be an interesting project, for sure.
And not like it ever would, but just in case the music doesn't match up to what it might be, that cast is stacked.
Yes, love it or hate it. And I think there's really, at this point, no reason to hate the cast. No matter who's been on it, no matter what their beliefs are, or what they've done, or whether they've worked with him or not, I think it's going to be a phenomenal ensemble. Tom Holland is supposedly playing the lead, which, I'm not going to,
bash him?
No, definitely not. It's not that Tom Holland can't act, because the guy definitely can. He's a very iconic superhero. I mean, he is Spider-Man. But
I did like him in A Devil All the Time.
Yeah, oh no, he's great in that too.
I did really like that, and bringing out like that southern tone. And Robert Pattinson also kills his role in there too.
He's spotlight in that movie for sure.
But I will say I'm not worried about the Odyssey performance from him.
No, I'm not worried about Tom Holland. No, I'm not, definitely not.
I am a little worried that there might not be enough screen time though for everyone in that movie. I mean, unless it's gonna be a 3-hour runtime. I mean, it's probably going to be.
Given the rate we're at with Nolan, it could be. It very well could be.
So what? You got Tom Holland, Zendaya, John Bernthal.
Bernthal just got added to. Anne Hathaway's in it.
Matt Damon.
Lupita Nyong'o's in it. Who's done a lot. She was 12 Years a Slave where she got big, but she's been in so much through that time. Matt Damon. I mean,
one of my favorites.
Yeah,
one of my favorites.
And he was the first actor rumored to be in that movie.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I think we knew, because I remember hearing about this back in November, and it's just like, finally we got an announcement on Nolan's new project. It's been a year. It's been over a year since Oppenheimer came out, and hearing he was going to work with Matt Damon again, that's awesome. Just third movie with him, The Odyssey will be.
Oppenheimer.
Did you say Zendaya, by the way?
Yeah,
I did. We'll talk about her.
So Matt Damon did Oppenheimer, Interstellar, and now The Odyssey.
And now The Odyssey, which is great. And he is much more of a significant role in terms of characters, I guess, in Oppenheimer than in Interstellar. He is a big impact on the plot of that movie.
He's definitely a pivot character.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The movie switches after he shows up. But he's in the movie for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe, not even that.
Yeah, basically until he ruins the spaceship. And spoilers, but if you haven't seen Interstellar, then go watch Interstellar.
This. He has his role and his impact in Interstellar, but Oppenheimer, he's so much more of a pivotal character. Oppenheimer wouldn't have been on the Manhattan Project without him. So it's good to see. It's about time, especially with Interstellar. It was about time Matt Damon got on board with Nolan, and kind of seeing Nolan interject him into his movies more. It's great to see, and I really hope he has a big role in the Odyssey.
I wonder what I haven't read the book, but I have heard of we've heard a lot of historical stuff through just school and blah 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 blah. But I am excited to see Christopher Nolan's take on it, and how everyone does. You said you wanted to talk about Zendaya. What do you think what is her role? Do you think that she might take?
I forget her name, but if Tom Holland plays Odysseus, he will be Odysseus' wife, who's a major part of the Odyssey. I read the Odyssey back in high school, and I saw the I forget his name, Asante. Can you look that up? Asante, I think his name was. I saw his movie back from like 1990, or the miniseries. It's fine. It's 1990 or whatever. And so Zendaya will, without a doubt, be Odysseus' wife if Tom Holland plays Odysseus. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at how many tickets you're going to sell if you see
Armand Asante?
Armand Asante, that's his name. Armand Asante played the original Odysseus.
Okay. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, I watched it in high school. watched it against my will. But Zendaya and Tom Holland being a couple that we're rooting for in a movie. I mean, the last time they did that was Peter and MJ. Who cares? Kinda, you know. So it'll be great to see like a more dramatic, less comic book.
Written character.
Yeah, love relationship between those two. And you know, the story of Odysseus getting back to his wife is really powerful. So I hope it's good for both of them.
I hope it's better than Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters. That's
I think I watched that movie and then I immediately did something else because of how bored I was. I love The Lightning Thief, I guess, as a 10-year-old. I hadn't seen Inception yet, so I was just kind of going with it. But no, in terms of Greek mythology, it's got to be Christopher Nolan or Robert Eggers, I'd say.
Yeah.
Robert Eggers in mythology, I'd give it to that guy, hands down.
So, I'll turn it to Robert Eggers.
Yeah, man.
What do you think about Nosferatu?
I mean, I saw Nosferatu after Christmas. So I saw it in the new year. Nosferatu is my favorite movie of this year, and I think it will be, unless Mickey 17 really gets me.
Over Doom Part 2?
No, I saw Doom Part 2 in 2024. I'm talking about 2025.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for 2025, Nosferatu is my number one movie.
Oh, you said so after Christmas.
The first movies I've seen in 2025.
Gotcha.
I usually rank it on Letterboxd.
Gotcha.
I think Nosferatu will be my favorite. Is it his best movie? No, definitely not. I still think The Northman overtakes that movie. And it's not because of, intensity or action. I just think The Northman is a better story. I think this revenge story is so much more engaging. And the character Skarsgård plays in that is so much more of a freak show than anyone could even think about.
Yeah.
You think of a Viking, you're like, oh yeah, this guy's out for blood. No, this guy literally growls like a wolf for like 45 minutes in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In especially, I mean, if you haven't seen The Northman, the end fight scene is has Lion King written all over it.
Yes,
but it's even better. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean,
and we've seen so many final fights or boss fights shot in fire, like the active volcano. The way the Northman does it with silhouettes of these naked Vikings fighting with swords that we're obviously rooting for one, but we understand the other one. We're like, obviously, this guy wants to fucking kill him.
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, come and get me. It's, you killed my wife and both of my sons. I'm going to destroy you. Out of both of them.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy about that fight scene.
Yeah.
I mean, and the silhouettes, and again, the music, phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite fight scenes ever in a movie.
Some of my favorite fights in mythology.
Yeah, and it's like a minute and a half. It's not that long of a fight, just the way it's delivered.
I feel like it feels longer than it is.
Yeah, no, and whenever I think about it, I feel like, oh, it's a 5-minute fight. No, it's less than 2 minutes between, Skarsgård going beast mode again and, the end of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's less than 2 minutes. It feels very long, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, the level of chanting out of the score and just the unknown of the fight, you don't know how it's going to go.
No, you really don't. I mean, honestly, it could have gone either way.
Oh yeah,
I think it totally could have.
And it does go either way too. I mean,
it really does.
Spoiler alert: they both die. It's the end of the movie.
Yeah,
it's the end of both of their stories. The villain in that Fjolnir, he's we hate him too. He's a piece of garbage. But, you understand, too. He had his love. Nicole Kidman was his love.
Mm-hmm.
In Viking times, what do you do with your love? You steal her, You're like, yeah. I mean, there's... I don't want to say empathy. I feel like that's way too dramatic of a word. But I said it earlier. There's an understanding to it.
Yeah.
This guy is not horrible, he has some things in him that he's fighting for. The same with Alexander Skarsgård, whose mother ends up being a piece of shit, and his father was a slave owner, whose wife was a slave. I mean, it's a cruel time.
It is.
The Northman is a fantastic movie.
And I really do. I think I would also say that's my favorite of his. I even, seeing Willem Dafoe again and again and again, I feel like him and Robert Eggers just know each other.
Yeah, there's another great Willem Dafoe, Robert Eggers movie that is definitely my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was going to say, he's got The Lighthouse, he's got The Northman, and he's got now Nosferatu.
Yeah, and The Witch.
And The Witch.
Can't forget about The Witch.
I forgot he was he was also in that.
And that's an Anya Taylor-Joy movie too, he's worked with, for two. He didn't do her in Nosferatu, but The Northman, big role, and The Witch, the main role. Yeah, she was. She had just done Split maybe before that, and with M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah,
and that was it. Yeah,
I really liked her in The Menu.
Oh yeah, Menu's a fun watch too. You showed me that movie for the first time.
I did tell you to watch that, and I truly did enjoy that movie. I think I went and saw that in theaters. I went and saw that in theaters too. Yeah. And that movie is not, I wouldn't say comical, but it does have some comedy to it, and especially some of the characters that bring it in.
Yeah.
Let me start this game for you. I got a game for you, and I took it off another podcast, so I want to try it out. I think it'd be fun. And you're a smart guy, you know movies. So let's
maybe an idiot, but let's see where it goes.
Let's try it. So basically, I'm gonna give you 5 words or 5 little phrases or whatever, and you basically got to guess the movie.
Yeah.
And they kind of progressively get a little bit more like obvious as the words keep going. So
yeah. Let's see where it goes. Yeah.
So the first word is time.
Inception.
There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
I figured you were gonna get that.
Yeah.
Next one was Elliot Page. Levels. Dreams. 528491. All right. Next one is year.
Year. Okay.
Yeah. Any guess?
No.
No guess.
No guess on year.
All right. War.
Year and war. That's a tough one too. No, I'll go for the third one.
Messenger.
1917.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, year. Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yep. All right. House.
No.
Trap.
Trap. No, is the movie Trap?
No.
Probably not. Yeah.
It's not a house.
Yeah.
It's a concert.
The movie's called Trap. Yeah. Get Out?
Nope. That's a good guess.
Nope is also another movie by Jordan Peele.
Yeah. 2 girls.
Give me the next one.
Mormons.
Oh, Heretic.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good 3 right there.
Yeah. All right.
If you don't get that on the third guess and you haven't seen the movie though,
Yeah.
you need to watch that movie.
Yeah. I guess. Okay, next one is trauma.
Midsummer.
No. That's a good guess.
That's a good guess though.
Yeah. Curse.
Smile 2.
Psychiatrist.
What was the first one?
Trauma.
Trauma, curse, psychiatrist. Smile 1.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, man!
The next one was recent sequel.
Oh yeah, that would have totally given away Smile 2.
Yeah.
That's like on the franchise, right?
This last one I think is the hardest. I think this last one's gonna be the hardest.
Let's roll.
Prison.
Prisoners.
No.
All right.
Scraps.
No.
Food.
Fuck. No. Prison scraps food. The Irishman?
No. Nope.
No.
Floors.
Nope. Prison scrap food floors. I have no idea.
All right, the last word is descending. You might have not. I believe you've seen this movie.
I might not have, honestly.
I have one extra word for you.
What's the extra?
It's a Netflix movie. I believe it's a Netflix movie.
Did I say The Irishman already?
Yeah.
Crap. Prison food scraps floors. What was the last one? Or was the one before?
Prison scraps food floors descending.
I have no idea.
And then the last one's a Netflix movie.
Squid Games?
I'll give you one more, and it basically, it would give it away.
Yeah.
Platform.
Dude, I'm blanking.
The movie's called The Platform.
Oh, I've never seen
You haven't seen The Platform?
No, I've not seen The Platform.
The Platform is about like a buffet of food. It's about people being locked in prison, and there's a buffet of food that starts at the top, and it descends all the way down to these like hundreds of floors, and you get as much you get to eat as much as you want, and then it descends, and then it goes
right.
It like goes down, so you can't get any more.
Oh, that's it. It's on Netflix, you said?
Yeah,
yeah.
Go watch that movie.
Check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out later.
Yeah, it is good.
It sounds good based on the words I've been hearing too.
It's pretty crazy.
Of the 2020s, what do you think has been the best movie so far?
The 2020s. I think the best movie of the 2020s. I'm not going to say Avatar, like Avatar 2. I'm not going to say that. I don't think the Dunes either. Man, me personally, my favorite of the 2020s. Man, Joker's 2019.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan had a big slam out of the park this year.
Yeah.
This decade.
2020 is my favorite movie. I don't know, because a lot of my favorite movies are a little bit older. I haven't really feel like I've seen a whole lot recently that's like blown me away. 2020.
It's a tough one, for sure.
I'd say like Dune Part 2 is like
a lot together.
Dune Part 2 is like number 5 or number 4. I'd say my favorites of the 2020s.
Yeah. That'd be higher than I put it.
Yeah. I wouldn't say Nosferatu or anything like that. No, I wouldn't say like Fury Road, like
Furiosa?
Yeah, like Furiosa. Yeah.
So
that was fun. That was a fun
That
movie,
was a great ride,
But
I got a better ride out of Fury Road, obviously.
Yeah.
But Furiosa was great. I loved it. I'm sad she's not up for an Oscar.
Yeah. I think one of the honestly maybe one of the animated movies, like A Wild Robot was really That was a special movie. That was a special movie. That one like touched my heart for sure. Even the new Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah,
that was a really good movie. I thought that was awesome.
The time dedicated to that movie is it's controversial too, because it's like animators are working 100 hours a week or something like that. And in the end it looks great, but is this really worth the kind of time and energy? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's worth it, but the respect you get from it. I mean, if that movie won Best Animated, I was hoping every single animator on that movie was up on that stage.
I hope so.
Because in all honesty, they're the ones that made that movie.
Yeah.
The movie would not be without the animators.
Yeah. And granted, the voice acting is fantastic.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And whatever controversial take you think, the Shameik Brown or something, I forget his name, whoever did Miles and his weirdness around the girls he's worked with. I mean, like, the voice acting is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, but for my top movie of the 2020s, I'm gonna have to say Oppenheimer.
I mean, so that's what I was really hoping you were going to come to a conclusion.
There were a few that were battling,
Yeah.
but I was like, no, man, I waited until my birthday. I waited 10, so I was born on July 30th. I was Christopher Nolan and I share a birthday.
Right, and that's a tradition for you.
Like, that's what I mean. Like, I wanted to see that movie on my birthday as a gift to myself, and I waited until me and Chris's birthday, and I was like, hey, man, I'm going to go see your movie on our birthday. And it did not let down.
No,
it didn't let down at all.
I don't think there is a Christopher Nolan glaze here for this, because there's a lot of people that like to call out film bros, and it's people that generally like only Christopher Nolan or Denis Villeneuve or Martin Scorsese movies that don't broaden their horizons a little bit, which I think is something everybody should do. But to deny that Oppenheimer as I would say as a dude, honestly, to deny that is one of just the most powerful things we've seen in the 2020s. Remember, this is discussion on what the best 2020s movie is so far.
And we still have...
We still got the rest of the decade, We got 5 years of this crap.
Yeah.
To deny that Oppenheimer was not such a powerful success, a powerful message, social and global message, I would say. To deny that the performances in that movie were not so engaging and so powerful would be to not consider that movie in your top list is crazy.
I truly think that you don't understand cinema at that point.
I mean, seriously. Or either you do and you're trying to deny cinema because, this movie's made by Christopher Nolan. He's a blockbuster. Well, you didn't watch... It's too long. You didn't watch the new Tarkovsky movie. God bless his soul. But, to deny that, while Christopher Nolan's movies are definitely made for a general audience most of the time, to deny that Oppenheimer is not one of the biggest achievements in cinema is crazy.
I think so. I agree.
I mean, the amount of depth we actually get into characters seriously compared to other Nolan movies, even Interstellar. Yes, we get a 3-minute long McConaughey straightforward crying scene, which is great. And McConaughey, dips his balls into that. I mean, it is phenomenal. And McConaughey's character throughout the whole movie is fantastic. The 3-hour character study of Robert Oppenheimer is something that nobody is used to in modern movies, especially with Christopher Nolan. He's never tackled a historical figure like this, and the amount of complexity to Robert Oppenheimer is something that needs to be captured on screen. It is something we all need to learn from. We need to learn from history. A lot of us are going to learn from the movies. We learned so much from Robert Oppenheimer in that movie.
Dude, not only is every part of that biopic fantastic, but I also want to express that there was no CGI in that movie.
Yeah, I mean,
there was
Nolan made it a huge point that there was no CGI.
And even in the beginning, when you kind of dive into Robert Oppenheimer's brain, and you kind of see like, hey, can you hear the music?
Right.
And all those little lights flying back and forth. That was done in a fish tank.
There's some guy on TikTok who recreated the whole thing. And I mean, it's an extraordinary process.
Yeah.
It's not just dipping, glitter in some water and then spinning it around. I mean, the amount of work that goes into capturing that, and especially, toning it up with visual effects and everything.
Yeah.
It's a great challenge for people.
Yeah.
And especially the team working with Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan demands perfection, as he should.
Yeah.
With a man of that caliber at this point, absolutely. He should expect perfection out of everybody working on his team. Which is why I'm not like, Tom Holland's in this movie and Zendaya's in this movie, so I don't care. It's not like Tom Holland or Zendaya, and while they're newer to the more dramatic space, like in these critically acclaimed movies, Christopher Nolan has an assignment, and you have to fill that assignment.
Yeah, that's why
Christopher Nolan's not
have
going to let you be on his set
Yeah.
unless you fulfill
Yeah.
the duties of this assignment.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think Zendaya is a fantastic actor, and I say actor because actress, in my opinion, is a dumb word.
Nonsensical.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's a quote, dude. If Tarantino wrote it, it's facts.
Yeah. And so when I say actor, so we can say actress for whatever.
Because she's a girl.
Because she's a girl, but she is an actor. She is a fantastic actress. Not only from, Euphoria is just kind of, a high school drug study.
Yeah, and she's great.
And she does great. And granted, it's the Zendaya show,
Yeah.
And that's why I think it had
a flair to that movie.
It is, and there's multiple parts to it, and obviously it's a TV show. They had hours of footage that they were able to embrace other characters and really show this high school world. But
in between seasons,
but her role was very good. But then you look at Challengers, and you're like, that's not.
I recently saw Challengers too with audio description on the plane, which was not the ideal way to see that.
It's just again not as that shouldn't she shouldn't have even done that movie. Somebody else. I
don't know, man.
I feel like somebody else could have easily done that. Another big name could have done that and done the same exact thing.
She's working with a bunch of no names for sure.
But she's better. She's better than that movie.
So
and she's better than Spider-Man. And Tom Holland is also better than Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, and there's room to say Leonardo DiCaprio is better than The Aviator. Because there's been movies. While The Aviator is a great performance, and it is a great movie, there are movies way better than The Aviator, I think. And, Leonardo DiCaprio has been in those movies. There's so much room for these actors to grow. Especially Zendaya, who is already in the hottest franchise in Hollywood right now, Dune, one of the hottest franchises.
Yeah. She does a great job. She does a great job. She does a great job. She does a great job in that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. And I think that makes a good point, that I didn't even think of her in that movie, because it's not about her. That's about Timothée Chalamet, and that's about fucking Thanos. Coming back from the dead almost.
Oh,
yeah. And then Austin Butler's character also, showing his, whole evil side and, becoming this, arch villain in a way.
And, there's a lot of Hollywood glaze for Austin Butler right now, and the guy definitely has potential, I think, and watching him in Dune was amazing.
Yeah.
Going into that movie knowing that Austin Butler, who had just delivered an Oscar caliber performance, an Oscar nominated performance, could have won too. It was definitely a back and forth between him and Brendan Fraser.
Elvis is not one of my favorite movies.
Elvis is great. But there's a lot of good stuff to love about Elvis. There's a lot of stuff to not like about Elvis.
But Austin Butler does kill that role.
You get to see Elvis. What else do you want? You get to see Elvis play some of his hottest performances ever. In terms of how popular he was, and in terms of the global icon that he became just after this. Not even after he died, but at that moment. I wasn't alive, but you could really see it in the movie. Yeah, Austin Butler delivered a hell of a performance with Elvis for sure. He's a very popular actor. He's really into his roles. But Dune Part 2 was a lot of hype with him. It was a lot of hype with him. He's in the movie for maybe an hour, if that. But hey, you did it. I think you did a good job. But that's what I mean. There was a reason why I didn't think of Zendaya initially. So, to go back to the original point off the tangent that we just went on, Christopher Nolan, when Christopher Nolan has an assignment and he has an idea in his head, you better follow it. They're gonna follow it. He's gonna kick you off your movie, I bet.
Yeah. And if you get kicked off a Christopher Nolan movie, yikes! Like,
Well,
not that I've heard of anyone that has. I don't.
No, and that's the thing. I don't know if anybody has. It would be global news if we heard that Tom Holland, Zendaya, anybody on that cast was no longer in the Christopher Nolan movie. I mean, that would cause so much drama, man. And it's like, I do think Christopher Nolan and whoever is the head of his casting has been very apprehensive to up and coming actors for sure, or even just like nostalgic actors. I think with Oppenheimer, he cast Josh Peck in that movie.
Hey,
what does Josh Peck do? I mean,
but he knew the assignment. He's like, all right, I'm gonna push the button.
He showed up for the 5 minutes he's in the movie, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Roderick shows up in that movie too.
Yeah,
and he gets his moment. Yeah. Even Christopher Nolan said he gets a part in that movie.
He was like, yeah.
Yeah. But when you're entrusting someone like Tom Holland to supposedly play your lead, I mean, there has to be a great amount of faith in this movie.
Yeah.
In this person. And it's just so weird after seeing the amount of faith he had in someone like Cillian Murphy for Robert Oppenheimer. Cillian Murphy's worked with him for so long. I mean, he tried out for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Being Scarecrow, obviously.
Yeah. But hey, he kept bringing him back.
He kept bringing him into his movies, man. He loves Christopher Nolan. I think he signed the script for Oppenheimer when he gave it to Cillian as like my love, Cillian Murphy, or something like that. Something that's like kind of weird, but it's cool because he's worked with him for so long.
Yeah, he's
so
like,
you respect him.
Yeah, exactly.
You are the guy I want for this movie. Does Christopher Nolan go into the Odyssey with that same mindset with Tom Holland? If Tom Holland ends up playing Odysseus, which would be a really young Odysseus, by the way, but is
this going to be Tom Holland's Oscar chase? You think?
Yeah. I think if you are starring in a Christopher Nolan movie where you are more than just a nameless protagonist like we got in Tenet, where you're more than the story, the plot, what's supposed to happen, you are locked in for an Oscar nomination.
So I guess we'll see. I really don't know because this really does enlighten me. I mean, again, like what you've been saying, this really does. You're entrusting Tom Holland with your newest, biggest project that's coming out, and dude, I mean, he better hit this thing running because Oppenheimer was such a it brought back cinema to the movie theaters. It brought people back to the world of movies and going to the theater. And if this movie can't, I'm not saying it has to be better than Oppenheimer because that's going to be a hard beat.
It's a tough bullet to hit, man.
But you have to, but people have to understand that this movie has to be good. And if it's not, it's Christopher Nolan is going to get some backlash because we can't go back to the Tenet day again, where half the audience was confused, like what just happened.
Yeah, and I don't think there's been a bad Christopher Nolan movie, even the following. His first, film. There's nothing that's been bad. Tenet has much more flaws in it that kind of like. What are you doing, dude? Like, what,
you're doing too much. You're trying to do too much.
This is supposed to be a box office hit, and it's a James Bond ripoff, pretty much, but in Nolan's way. But Christopher Nolan is not perfect. Christopher Nolan is one of the strongest filmmakers alive, still actively making movies with a passion for filmmaking. Whereas you have Quentin Tarantino, he's like, I'm 60-something years old, I'm just done. I'm not going to do it anymore. Which I think is, there's a lot to talk about with that too. But Christopher Nolan, he's coming up on, his mid-50s, or he might be older than that. And he still has such a drive for making these movies that they can't be bad. And I think if you make such a global box office hit like Oppenheimer, and then you aren't able to follow it up with something either just as strong or stronger. First of all, the studio is not going to let you do that. The studio wants you to make a box office hit.
Yeah, I mean,
especially as we know this movie's coming out in July of 2026.
Yeah,
which seems like such a long ways away, but
he loves those summers, man. He loves reading.
He Christopher Nolan's status as such a strong filmmaker comes from he won't accept something worse. There is a 3-year gap between Dunkirk and Tenet.
There's about to be a 3-year gap between.
And there will be a 3-year gap between this. There are factors that go into Tenet's release, such as COVID, which I think, was a little more pressure from the studio to get released. So maybe Christopher Nolan couldn't tune it up or whatever. I still think Christopher Nolan understands Tenet. I think he does. I think there's people out there that understand.
I understand Tenet. I do, but it took me. I won't lie. It took me 5 watches and a YouTube video.
I mean, the thing is, like, they make those movies on YouTube, like so and so's ending explained.
Yeah,
there's a whole YouTube channel dedicated to that. They make those because there are movies out there, like Nolan movies, that are really hard to understand. And that's part of the point. I think there is some, marketing campaign in Nolan's head where he's like, I'm going to make you come watch this movie a second time. I'm going to make you pay for the ticket to go watch it again. Oppenheimer did not come out onto any streaming platform until November. That is, between July and November, you could not watch that movie anywhere other than, like, 1, 2, 3 movies in Korean or something.
Yeah.
Or in the movie theater. He wants you to buy another ticket. He wants you to come see his movie again.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I watched it twice in theater. I did.
No. I saw Oppenheimer 3 times in IMAX. I saw it again in standard, and
and it's one of the movies that we show our friends who haven't seen it.
If you are watching this at this point and you haven't seen Oppenheimer, cut the video, go dedicate 3 hours to Oppenheimer,
please.
If you were even watching this in the first place, I guarantee you will not be disappointed with Oppenheimer. You don't have to read the book. You don't have to look up the lore of Oppenheimer. You don't have to know how quantum mechanics works. It's not about the science necessarily. It's about the character.
It's about the pressure. It's about the situation.
Which he has.
It's about the political agenda.
But don't tell Nolan that. He'll say his movies aren't political at all.
Hey, it's about the political manipulation of it all. Yeah. I mean, there really is, and you should go, and if you haven't, or if you have seen it, then you understand exactly what we're saying.
Yeah. If you've seen it, and don't watch the movie once, it's a movie that deserves your attention twice or 3 times. The ending of the movie,
we've collectively probably seen it 20. We've probably collectively seen it 20 times.
I have watched that movie 4 times with my dad. That I know.
We've collectively probably seen it probably 20 times.
I would say Inception, I've seen the most out of Nolan. That movie came out in 2010. I probably saw it in 2012, something like that. And I would say I've watched that movie at least twice every year since then. I watch it with my dad once whenever I'm back in Cincinnati, and then I've definitely watched it twice here too. Maybe it's not once a year, but sometimes there's 5 times a year that I watch it. Just watch it. I get in such an Inception kick. It is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie.
It's in my top 4 favorite movies of all time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's hard to... there are people that'll be like, oh, well, you're just, glazing Christopher Nolan, or, oh, Inception's the only movie you've seen. But, Inception not only stands the test of time for, how real it is today. Dreams are something that we all think about. maybe we don't talk about it as much, or we don't relay it into our real life, but they're all something that impacts us in some sort of way, whether it's the day after or the week after. Dreams are so much more real than we perceive them as, and that's the whole fucking point of the movie. Is like, you don't know how to distinct dreams from reality. The whole movie capitalizes on not knowing the difference, right?
Yeah.
So Inception is his best movie to me because of, I'll get this out of the way, Leonardo DiCaprio's performance. Don Cobb is one of the most average characters on paper that we've seen in such a long time. He fills the gaps of every other character who's just doing something so they can accomplish this. For his sake, it's, I'm going to do this mission so I can go back to my kids. That alone is something that has been done endlessly in Hollywood. Doing something to go back to his family, right?
Doing something to redeem your family.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Breaking Bad is about doing this because of your family. It's a character type we've seen endless times. Leonardo's performance of it is, another reason why I think he's one of the greatest actors we've ever seen. Like, the way he does it makes it so emotional and so deep. The same way McConaughey does Interstellar. Yeah. With that scene, the crying scene. Yeah. He makes us feel so bad for this guy.
Dude, that was one take.
I saw that the other week.
Yeah, they did multiple, but they took that first take.
And McConaughey explained it too, I think. He was like, I don't do the whole same preparation thing while, he does the Wolf of Wall Street, of course. But he apparently sat down and just went through the motions. Mm-hmm. And he did it perfectly. That is raw talent. Yeah. That is something that, in terms of how to be a natural actor, that needs to be studied.
I think
the way McConaughey told it.
So what was that? 2013. 13.
Would have mixed it in with
2012. 2012. No, because Inception was 2012.
No, Inception was 2010.
2010. Okay. So anyway, that could have been an Oscar performance out of McConaughey.
And I'm surprised he didn't get nominated.
Oh, that's another topic, but we're going to end it here. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, let us know down below what else you guys want us to talk about, what you liked, what you didn't like. Let us know if you got the movies before we did.
Yeah, and if we're wrong, let us know too. Yeah, we don't know everything.
But hey, this is our first time doing this. We really enjoyed it. Some of this stuff will be up on our Instagram. I'll make sure to leave that down below. Make sure to follow us on Letterboxd, where we leave our personal movie reviews and the movies. See, he sees movies before I do, and I see movies before he does.
But I just hit 900 on Letterboxd too, so if you want to join me in my celebration,
Hey, perfect. Well, thank you guys again for watching, and follow us for more.
Yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
See ya.